Hi, I'm Finlay and you're watching the Run For It YouTube channel. In this episode, we're going to be talking through the brand new Brooks Go 16. Brooks kindly sent us a pair so we could test them out properly. We're going to be talking through what's changed, how they feel to run in, and what they're best suited to. Hope you enjoy. Let's start by talking through the main change to the new Go 16, the new nitrogen-infused DNA Loft V3 cushioning. Now, without getting overly technical, this foam is made using a large cell foaming process, which simply amplifies the cushioning properties. And this means that the DNA Loft V3 cushioning in the Go 16 should feel softer, lighter, and more energy returning than the V2 version in the previous Ghost 15. Previous Ghost fans might notice this new midsole design, and this is mainly for aesthetic reasons. This new sculpting brings a more modern look to the Ghost profile, which was definitely needed. There's also a new RoadTack rubber outsole, and this lightweight, resilient material that's made using a mix of rubber and recycled silica should improve the durability of the outsole. If we compare the outsole of the Ghost 16 against the Ghost 15, if you look carefully in the forefoot, you can just see the subtle difference in the middle of the forefoot area. And this part here, it's just a little bit of a cutout in the outsole, even though it's a full flex groove. That just improves flexibility of the forefoot a little bit more than what it was like in the previous version. There's just some subtle changes to the upper which improve the feel. The engineered air mesh offers a really balanced feel between breathability and support. There's still lots of nice soft padding around the heel collar, and the only thing I really noticed was the fact that the tongue is just a little bit thinner on the top of the shoe there. And following on from that, the fit of the Ghost 16 is almost identical to the previous models. Brooks don't want to mess around with that. They know how many people love the fit of their Ghosts, and they want people to just be able to transition into the new model with ease. The only thing I would say is the fabric feels slightly softer and slightly more forgiving, so overall the comfort experience should be improved. And if you've not worn the Ghost before and you don't know what to expect, well, these offer a very spacious fit in the toe box, and even though the Ghosts are available in a wide fit version, the standard fit offers a lot of space for runners even that have wider feet. That's why they're so popular. While the midfoot and the ankle area offers great lockdown and a lot of structure, I'd say these are less likely to work as well for runners who have narrower foot shapes, because it might just feel like there's a little bit too much space inside the upper. To test out the Ghost 16 properly, I took them straight out on a 90-minute run, averaging 4:45 minutes per kilometre pace. I've also done a series of shorter distant runs at slightly slower speeds just to get the full measure of how they perform. The cushioning feels very comfortable from the get-go and really doesn't need broken in. I can confirm that the new midsole foam definitely feels softer than the previous version. However, I would still describe the Ghost midsole as quite responsive underfoot, and it probably sits on the responsive end of the cushioning scale. Don't get me wrong, these offer a lot of protection. It's just they offer a very different experience to what ultra plush, high stacked alternatives do. However, I will come back to that point later on in the episode. Even though the Ghost are neutral running shoes, they've always been regarded as feeling very stable and very supportive. We see that on our Run Lab analysis at Run For It. It's one of the reasons as to why they're so popular. There's sometimes a fear when running shoes change to softer midsole compounds that some of that inherent stability might be lost. However, I can confirm again that the Ghost midsole continues to feel very stable and very supportive underfoot. So if that's one of the reasons as to why you've chosen the Ghost in the past, you should be able to transition into the new version without any fear of that being different. As a prominent heel striker myself, the 12mm drop from heel to toe feels really protective in the rear section of the shoe, and if that's where you land, you're going to find that this part of the midsole feels really cushioned and really comfortable. However, if you land further forward in the shoe in sort of the midfoot or forefoot area, typically when you're running, chances are you're just going to be missing out on a lot of the cushioning in this midsole, so it's probably not the right option for you in that case. It's worth noting that the high drop midsole means that these can't be made with a rocker, can't be made with that curved heel to toe geometry. And I'm mentioning that because while some runners love running in rockered shoes, some don't like that sensation under their feet. So hopefully that helps you make up your mind as to whether or not the Ghost are right for you. Personally, I prefer a slightly more rockered feel under my feet. I have very tight hip flexors, and I find that rolling forward sensation just helps with my biomechanics. But everyone's different, and it's great that there's this level of choice. We don't just want a range of shoes that all feature low drops and very curved heel to toe geometries. Going back to the point I made earlier, the Ghost are not maximum cushioned running shoes. If you're running longer than say 75 to 90 minutes, the chances are a higher stacked, softer midsole is going to help take more stress off your working muscles and keep your legs feeling fresher for longer. I certainly noticed that after that 90-minute run, my legs just felt a little bit more fatigued than they normally would in that sort of run, because in that type of distance I would wear that softer, higher stacked midsole. However, you might not be running as long as that, and in runs that are shorter than 60 minutes, the Ghost cushioning feels exceptionally comfortable. And the fact that you may experience your muscles working slightly harder in models such as the Ghost in comparison to higher stacked, softer alternatives is not necessarily a bad thing. To explain further, if you do all of your runs in shoes which feature lots of cushioning and offer lots of help, you may experience some detraining in certain muscle groups, or you may not strengthen some areas in the first place. And that's certainly the hypothesis with super shoes and what some runners are starting to notice and experience in their training. So using the Ghost in some of your shorter to moderate distance runs, and then saving something that offers a little bit more help for your longer distance sessions, is a great way of improving your running performance. We should make it clear that the Ghost 16 are not lacking in protection, and a lot of runners will find these very comfortable for their long distance runs. We just want to make it easy to understand where these sit on the cushioning scale, and there will be a lot of runners who are looking for one pair of shoes to cover all their bases, but we also want to help you understand that there's a lot of merit in using different shoes for different types of runs, and there's a lot of benefits of incorporating shoe rotation into your running training. A great way to conclude this episode is by saying that the Ghost 16 are a massive improvement on the previous version, and given the fact that the Ghost 15 were one of the most popular running shoes in the world, that is saying something. They're simply amazing daily mileage training shoes, and they deliver exactly what Brooks want them to: reliable and balanced cushioning that feels great at slower to steady paces. And if you loved running in the previous Ghost, you are going to love running in these even more. And that brings me to the end of the episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please make sure and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you soon.